Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. Okay, today our group will present our assignment subject is Statistics and Social Sciences, and our assignment title is Students' Habits and Performance. Our factor chosen is sleep hours and extracurricular participations. So, before we continue to our presentations, let me introduce myself and my group members. So, hello, my name is Siti Maisara Amira binti Tanai.
My name is Ajmal Muzaffar bin Najamuddin.
My name is Nur Shazwani binti Amran. And I'm Nur Aisha binti Benedict. Academic performance is influenced by study habits, lifestyle, behavior, and classroom learning strategies. Effective study habits include sufficient study time, adequate sleep, and consistent class attendance. Students with organized and consistent routines tend to achieve better academic results. This study used the student habits and performance data set with 1,000 data points. Variables include study time, sleep duration, attendance, and exam score to explore patterns in student behavior and outcomes. The purpose of this analysis is to understand on how student behavior affect academic performance and provide insight for educators.
Okay, now I will be presenting section 2.0, which is data preparation. First, for the dataset description, this study focuses on two main variables, which are sleep hours as well as extracurricular participation. Sleep hours is a quantitative variable, meaning it is numerical data that shows how many hours a student sleeps per day. In this dataset, the minimum sleep recorded is 3.2 hours, while the maximum is 10 hours. So this is the data. The second variable is extracurricular participation, which is a qualitative nominal variable. It is divided into two categories. Yes, for students who participate in extracurricular activities, and no for students who do not participate. Based on the data set, 682 students do not participate, while 318 students are involved in extracurricular activities. Next is identifying missing values and outliers. After inspecting the dataset, we found that there were no missing values, meaning all the data was complete. Therefore, no data imputation or transformation were required. However, there were two outliers detected in the sleep hours variable. These values are considered too extreme compared to the rest of the data. To handle this issue, the Windsorization method, also known as capping, was applied. The values below 3.05 hours or above 9.85 hours were adjusted to the boundary values. This method allows us to reduce the effect of the extreme values without removing the data. Next, the clean data was visualized using graph. A bar chart shows that the distribution of extracurricular participation, where the majority of the students, about 68.2%, do not participate in extracurricular activities. Another visualization is a histogram for sleep hours, which shows a normal distribution with an average of 6.47 hours of sleep a day. Most students sleep between 5.5 and 7.5 hours. Finally, the justification of cleaning decisions, no data was removed because there were no missing values. Instead, the capping method was used for extreme values to maintain the full sample size of 1,000 students and ensure the analysis remains accurate and representative. That concludes the section 2.0 data preparation. Thank you.
Okay, now we will move on to the data analysis of our research. So, in this data analysis can be divided into two types, which is the first one is descriptive statistics and the second one is inferential statistics. So, in the descriptive statistics, as you guys can see, it shows that figure 1 is extracurricular participations that includes a mean, median, variance, standard deviation, range, skewness, and also the kurtosis. So, according to our sample distribution, there is a majority of students who are not involved in our co-curricular activities, which is the 68.2%, while the 31.8% of students reported being involved in other activities. Next, the average sleep time for students involved in co-curricular is 6.52 hours. It is almost the same as the average sleep time for students who are not involved, which is the 6.45 hours. Then, in the form of skewed data, the skew value for the group of students, as you guys can see, is not the co-curricular activities, is 0.1346. It shows a very small positive skew. And for the group of students who are not involved, the skew value is negative 0.0030, shows that the data distribution is almost perfectly symmetrical, which is very normal. And based on the figure that you guys can see, in the uniformity of standard deviations, the group of students involved in co-curricular activities has the lowest standard deviations of 1.18, while the standard deviations for the group who are not involved is 1.24. It shows that their sleep time is more consistent than the group who are not involved in the co-curricular activities. Now, after the descriptive statistics, now we will move on to the inferential statistics. So this is our hypothesis. The null hypothesis states that there is no significant difference in the average hours of sleep between students who participate in co-curricular activities and students who do not participate in co-curricular activities. So the alternative of why we're doing the hypothesis is they state that there is no significant difference in the average hours of sleep between students who participate in co-curricular activities and the students who do not participate in the co-curricular activities. Okay. For the inferential statistics, as you guys can see, this is the figure 2 of independent sample t-test result that we use. So, in this sample t-test, that includes our extracurricular participations, that include no and yes, and our value is 682 for the no, and for the yes is 380. For the mean of no students participation is 64.469, and for the students who participate is 65.198. For the standard deviation, as you guys can see, here is 12.446 for the no participations, and for the yes participation is 11.867. For the t-value and p-value, they have the same value. For the t-value, they only get 8.752, and for the p-value is 3.817. According to the figure 2, the standard deviations value for the group students involve extracurricular activities for the student who participate is 1.1867, while the standard deviation value for students who are not involved is 1.2446. This value indicates that the sleep times of students who are active in extracurricular activities is slightly more consistent or less variable than of students who are not involved. So for the t-value, why we're using this? Because it shows the degrees of freedoms, and p-value is not only reported once because the values are the results of a comparison between two groups, because namely students who are not involved in extracurricular activities. These values does not represent any group individually, but it shows the result of the analysis that compares the two groups to determine whether there is a significant difference. Although our conclusions of this figure is the standard deviation is taken into account in the analysis, the test results show that the p-value is 0.3817 is more greater than the significance levels of 0.05. Therefore, the difference in average sleep time between 6.44 hours and 6.51 hours is not considered statistically significant. So this is the last of data analysis. This is, as you guys can see here, our figure 3 that shows the mean sleep hours by our extracurricular participations. This is our extracurricular participations for the students who participate and the students who do not participate. So this is our average of sleep hour students. So this, as you get, based on our figure 3, this figure depicts the average sleep time for both groups. This overlap in the standard deviations error bar suggests that the variability in sleep duration is similar for participants and non-participants. This visual also representations confirm that the t-test result is a p-value 0.3817, indicating that the difference between the two groups is not statistically significant because the p is more than the 0.05. Okay.
Next, I will explain the evaluation and discussion of our study. We used an independent simple t-test to determine whether participation in extracurricular activities affects students' daily sleep hours. The result of the analysis shows that the p-value is 0.3817, which is higher than the significance level of 0.05. Because the p-value is greater than 0.05, we fail to reject the null hypothesis. This means that there is no statistically significant difference in sleep hours between students who participate in extracurricular activities and those who do not. For the main comparison, students who participate in extracurricular activities have an average sleep duration of 6.52 hours. Meanwhile, students who do not participate in extracurricular activities have an average sleep duration of 6.45 hours. The difference between the two groups is only 0.07 hours, which is approximately 4 minutes. This difference is very small and not statistically significant. Based on this result, we can conclude that participation in extracurricular activities does not significantly affect students' sleep duration. This suggests that many students are able to balance their academic responsibilities and extracurricular activities effectively. As a result, their sleep patterns remain relatively similar. These findings are also supported by previous research. For example, Brown 2022 state that participating in structured activities can help students develop more organized daily routine. In addition, Zimmerman's self-regulation theory explains that students who are actively involved in activities often develop better self-management and time management skills. Furthermore, Smith and Taylor 2023 found that participation in clubs or sport can improve student mental and physical well-being while still allowing them to maintain a regular sleep schedule. The bar chart is figure 3 also support the statistical result. As you can see, the height of the bar for students who participate in extracurricular activities and those who do not are almost the same. The error bars also overlap with standard deviation values of 1.19 for the yes group and 1.24 for the no group. This overlap indicates that there is no significant difference between the two groups. Therefore, both the statistical analysis and the visual graph shows that extracurricular participation does not significantly affect students' sleep duration.
For the implications of this study, the findings show that students should not be discouraged from participating in extracurricular activity. This is because the analysis indicates that extracurricular involvement does not significantly affect students' sleep duration. Therefore, parents, teachers, and educational institutions should continue encouraging students to take part in these activities as they support students' overall development. In terms of recommendations, future research can examine different types of extracurricular activities such as high-intensity activity like sport and lower-intensity activity like academic clubs. In addition, future study can also use smart devices such as smartwatch to monitor students' sleep duration and sleep cycles more accurately. For the conclusion, this study aimed to examine the relationship between students' participation in extracurricular activities and their sleep duration using a data set of 1,000 students. The descriptive analysis showed that students who participate in extracurricular activities sleep an average of 6.52 hours, while those who did not participate sleep about 6.45 hours. However, the independent sample t-test showed a p-value of 0.3917, which is greater than 0.05. This means that the difference in sleep duration between the two groups is not statistically significant. Overall, the findings suggest that students are able to balance their academic responsibility and extracurricular activities without significantly affecting their sleep patterns.